just be prepared that once we shift energy and we move it, right, any energy that we moved has to come in force with the negative. Anytime there's positive, there has to be the negative. It's what we do with that negative that is our test. So because a lot of positive energy has been coming through, Castle, look out.
I'm a little sick today. I've got a little sinus going on. And at 5:30 this morning, I screamed for my husband because I had a Charlie horse. But I'm okay though, you know.
Yep, I love it. So Colleen, look out. It's coming too. And even though right now you're having some health issues, interesting that you're both having health issues too. And it's also interesting, Casa, if you look up the emotion of sinuses.
Oh, how do I find that out?
Okay, give me just a minute. Let me grab it.
If you want, we can do that later.
I'll take a picture and I'll send it to you because it's pretty cool. Okay, so any questions? Casa, questions?
Nope.
Perfect. Colleen, questions? You can just shake your head yes or no. You're on mute.
I'm sure I'll think of something.
Okay, I love it.
In a minute.
I love it. Okay, I'm going to share screen. Casa, I'm going to come back because I don't have mine up. Sorry. So I can share the screen. Okay, now I'm going to share screen. Okay, so here we go. Week 2 of the enrollment process. Here we are. I love it. There were some good things that happened last week, and welcome. And I just want to thank you guys for being here. We have a lot of, it's nice that we have 2 classes. I wasn't really sure how it would work, but it's interesting because a lot of people that were going to be on this morning actually have to come this afternoon for different things. And then a lot of people that are this afternoon actually will be watching it later on this week because you guys have dress rehearsal or something, Casa?
Oh, yes. This is the busiest week
ever.
My recital was last night, and then our Christmas party I'm in charge of on Saturday. Yeah, so yes, I am holding the line. I am oiled like crazy. I'm so great. I'm so grateful, seriously, so grateful for essential oils today.
Oh yeah, amen.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for showing up, ladies. This is going to be a fun class. Okay, I have set my time to 1 hour so I don't get in trouble. So again, our intent is to enroll you 100%, for you to be aware and for you to become so that you can step into your greatness. So just by roll of hands, by raise of hands, how many of you were enrolled in that one thing that you needed to be enrolled in this week? Okay, so talk to me. What happened?
Well, I guess I enrolled differently. You know, I guess what I talked about last time with the exercise and the eating, just was like, no, this isn't the time. You need to be doing something different right now.
So what was that?
Going to Heber. I honestly wasn't. I was like, should I really go and drive all that way because the weather was awful. I should not have driven over when I did. But I'm like, no, you need to go. You need to enroll in yourself. You need to go and you need to up level. And even if the content is really basic, the connections you make, and then I had a huge miracle happen that could only have happened through Heavenly Father.
Cool.
So that's what it was.
So what do you feel like you need to be enrolled in this week?
Staying calm, with everything going on. I saw an email just pop down, a thing that the guy that was in charge of doing the backdrop for my program said he won't be able to do it, even though I asked him a month ago, and it's in 3 days. That's okay. We'll figure it out. So it's going to be calm and stay in accomplishment and stay in, I can figure this out.
So what's the one thing, Casa, if I were going to ask you that you said, this is what I need to do so I can receive this into my life so that you can stay calm, what would it be?
Pray.
Ooh,
I need
Yeah.
to pray.
all right. And what about you, Miss Colleen? And you're on mute, Colleen.
Yeah.
You got it.
I'm not good at handling the mute button.
I hear you.
So actually, what I have kept kind of coming back to, I guess, because I keep thinking, okay, I'm going to write down some more, more steps, more goals, more this, more that, and then what I don't get very far with it, and I think that a lot of it is I still keep coming back to this trying to. It's kind of health issue stuff that I just have to keep, which makes me feel, because I keep feeling like, oh man, I'm living so slow. I'm not doing all these things, these lists of things I want to get done or change and whatnot. Because I keep paying attention to this health stuff and feeling like I'm not getting very far very fast. And yet when I try to, I don't know, skirt around it and just think, oh, I'll power through it. And that kind of thing, it doesn't work.
So what do you think the one thing that you need to do to enroll this week? What's the one thing?
I think if I can just concentrate on that, getting past these couple health things, and not get upset, worried that, oh no, this isn't going to go anywhere because I'm not getting done what I want to. Just concentrate on those things. I keep making statements and everything that I'm going to get through it, and next week will be a whole other ball game. And I also realizing that I can't change everything in my life overnight.
Exactly.
I can't do the whole thing, just boom.
So what would be the most beneficial, do you feel? What would be the one thing that would be the most beneficial that you could say, I have accomplished this and I'm going to accomplish this every day for 5 days or 7 days in a row?
Being able to get out of bed in the morning.
Ooh.
Exactly when my alarm goes off, not wait 5 minutes.
I love it.
And get going with the regimen I have set to take care of this stuff that I'm.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if I can really stick with it exactly, that I will get through it.
I love it. So what do you think would happen if you got out of bed when the alarm went off?
What happened if I do?
Yeah, what would happen?
It gives me a certain energy by doing that, a certain energy that I lose if I stay in bed any longer.
And what would happen if you had that energy?
Which doesn't make, which you think shouldn't make sense because
it actually does.
It does. It does. It makes, to stick with that. It makes
so what would happen if you had that energy? What do you think the rest of your day would look like?
It just,
you got up.
It gets, everything just kind of ramps up a notch.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I get going, I get started on my to-dos and all that a little sooner, and I'm more enthusiastic.
And so at the end of the day, Colleen, what do you feel?
More accomplished.
Oh! So can I tell you why?
Because I am.
Absolutely.
Old.
Yeah. But guess
And
what
I feel
happens?
more enrolled in myself. It's that way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So can I explain something to you about flipping the alarm?
Yeah.
So when you're sleeping and the alarm goes off and you hit the snooze button, you just told your brain, I do not have enough sleep. You just put yourself in scarcity mode. Not enough.
Yeah, and I'm in that too often.
And so if in exactly what you said, when the alarm goes off and you wake up and you get going, you just automatically put yourself in accomplishment mode. So if
And it
you want to
helps.
be accomplished from the time you wake up, don't hit the snooze button.
Yeah, and I've found even when I'm, grumbling and griping as I'm getting out of bed, no, you just have to get out of bed. It doesn't matter how tired you are. Just get out of bed. It really does go better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even if I'm thinking as I'm doing it,
Yeah.
I'm so tired I can't move.
Yeah, I hear you. So a great declaration, and Cass, I don't know if you do this too, but a great declaration before you go to bed is when the alarm goes off, I will have had enough sleep and I will get up. I am rested and I have had enough. So no matter what, if you say that before you go to bed, and then when you wake up, sometimes you have to say it too, I have had enough sleep. I'm ready for the day. It's amazing what happens. So are you enrolled, Colleen?
What's that?
Are you enrolled?
I'm enrolled, yes. And tomorrow, no, I did get up this morning.
Woohoo!
Yeah, I might not even be on right now if I hadn't.
You know what's interesting? Look at your energy right now. You have some great energy. Just from that. That's awesome. Okay, we're going to get going because I want to role play with you ladies. So rules are just to be present. You're just here for an hour. Don't worry about what you have to do. Don't worry about what happened just a minute ago. Don't worry about what you're going to do after you get off or what you're doing for dinner. Just be present for 1 hour. Second one is just manage your communication device. And the third one is just show respect. Will you guys abide by the rules? Just raise your hand if you'll do it. Thank you very much. Okay. What you'll need is, if you can, you'll just need a pencil or a pen, a journal, a paper, and an open mind. Here we go. So you need to know each time I'm going to be asking you these questions. And the reason why is because if you know what you want to get out of this class, then you'll get it. If you don't, then there'll just be uncertainty and not clarity. So just make sure you know what you want to get out of this class. So if you know and you'd like to share with us. If not, think about what you want to get out of this class. Remember the results that you want in the 6 weeks. So what do you want? So is it be specific. So for today, I want to share with you and role play with you so that anytime you are in front of anyone, whether it's your sister Casa and she's driving, you can sit there and you can totally enroll her. Whatever it is, so that you can enroll anybody who comes into your space, you can enroll them. So do you both know what you want to get out of this class? Thumbs up if you do. Perfect. Perfect. Oh, Colleen, I love your thumb. That's awesome. Okay. We just talked about achievement energy, and it's interesting that Colleen talked about setting an alarm, because that's usually the number one way for a person to either go into achievement energy or scarcity energy. So Colleen, I'm excited, and I'm excited that you're in total achievement energy. And Casa, your achievement energy this week's going to be when you're praying. So that's awesome. Okay, really quickly, accountability calls. I'm just going to go over them so that you know what they look like and what they are, because I've had a lot of people ask. So the accountability call is just like what you guys said, only for this week. We're going to up it each week. So your accountability call is, what do you want to accomplish this day in order for you to be enrolled? So I'm going to use both of you guys. So Casa, yours was to pray. So if someone said to pray, then your team members might ask, how long? What does that look like for you? So then you could be a little bit more specific with clarity, so they would know whether you achieved it or not. So for example, if you just said to pray and then it was I'm going to pray, for 2 minutes while I'm in bed. They might ask, okay, how can you up level that? So Casa, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask, what does that look like for you?
Well, that looks like starting and finishing the day, with prayer on my knees. I don't set a time limit though.
Okay.
That's not how I work with the Lord. And then when things arise in the day, like I'm not feeling well, or like I got to figure out now my backdrop for my program, I will pause whatever I'm doing and just say a prayer and ask Heavenly Father for the answer and the guidance, and to send someone my way that knows what to do.
Cool. So if I were going to ask if there was a way to stretch you just a little bit more, what would that look like?
I'm not sure.
So think about that, because that's really what we want to do. Think about, how would I have to be stretched in that moment? Not in that moment, but to make it where you could up level. And that's really what you want someone to be asking is, how can I stretch you?
Yeah. I guess the pause and listening better, more efficiently.
I'm sorry, tell me one more time.
Pause and listening.
Oh, thank you. I thought you were saying one word.
Oh.
So I thought it was pause and listening. I was like, what is that? Sorry. Gotcha. Pause and listening. I love that. I love that. Okay, awesome. So it would be the same thing. And that's something that as your group, that's something that you want to do. You want to stretch them. You really want to stretch them. Like, for example, my accountability call is, so mine today was 100% on my food. I have a gut issue that I need to be healing. And so that means a certain type of food that I need to be eating. And it needs to be 100%, because I notice sometimes I'm not obedient to my body. I know in my head what I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm choosing not to. And so I'm mocking me and the plan that's been called for me to do. So for me, like today on my accountability call, they're like, what is going to stretch you? And I said, what's going to stretch me? Okay, what's going to stretch me is anything that is not good for me, I'm going to take and put into another area. So when I open the pantry, I don't see it. So you're always looking for something more to stretch you. So Colleen, yours is getting up. What's going to stretch you?
So what will stretch me would be if I would get up even 15 minutes earlier.
Ooh.
And get to bed earlier.
Oh.
And sometimes I'm looking at whether it's going through my email, looking at Facebook stuff, various, things. I am on an electronic device too late in the evening, right before I go to bed.
Gotcha.
And so I need to have that out of the way, put away sooner so that so it's easier for me to go to sleep.
I love it. So what does that look like? What time do you need to put that away?
Oh, did that just break your ears?
No.
So if I put that away half an hour before I'm like laying on my pillow to go to sleep, then that definitely will make a difference.
So I know, Cassie, you guys are together. So Cassie, you might want to ask her, so what time would that be? So that you can get really specific on the accountability call, so you know. So then tomorrow, when you guys are talking, it can when you say, yeah, I got it, then Cassie can say, what time did you go to bed? And then you're accountable. So do you see how we're up leveling? We're stretching. It's not just one thing. It's stretching you to do just a little bit more.
Of course, I'm babysitting tonight. So I'm not really sure what time that will be. might vary.
Exactly.
But no, I've had Byron and I have both made goals with the, what time we get to bed.
Sure.
And we, yeah, it's like, we do this up and down.
I love it. So one thing that I noticed for me when I was doing that too is I switched strategies, and I said, okay, my time starts at 8:30, and I'm doing my PMs regularly. And then one thing that I noticed this week was I was doing a lot of stuff online, and I was not adhering to the rules that I said I would do. And so this morning I had to recommit that I will only work on Mondays, and it will only be 6 hours and no more. So it was really interesting. So I had to recommit. So I would just ask you, okay, just look at that, see what that works out to be. And the other thing that I have done, you don't have to do this, Colleen, I'm just putting it out there because I know that there's going to be other people that have time management, learning to manage time. But the other thing that I've done is no matter what time I get to bed, I always get up at the same time, no matter what. And that is something that is crazy, because no matter what, it's like, okay, 3:27, let's go. That's just me. Okay, let's talk about strategy sessions, because we had a lot of people ask me about strategy sessions. So does anyone have any questions first before we get going?
So we're talking about enrolling. So when we talk strategy sessions, are you specifically referring to, okay, I've got this person who I want to have join, and so I'm sitting down for a strategy session with them? Or are we talking about the more general term of enrolling them?
Okay, so that's a great question. So I'm going to start at the beginning, and hopefully this will clarify everything. So I'm so glad you asked that, Colleen. This is great. Okay, so this is what, not this, hold on. This is what, I'm going to start right here. Strategy sessions, this is what they look like. So first of all, you have to know your intent and your purpose for having it. If you don't have an intent for talking to that person, you're just having a conversation. So your strategy session, so if you're going to be practicing with each other on your strategy session, you have to know what your intent is. So no matter what, when someone comes into my space, my intent is to enroll them. And I have said I will either enroll them in something in their life. I will either enroll them to have a strategy session with me. I'll enroll them to maybe learn more about their higher power. But there's always something. My intent is always to enroll them into something. There's no difference. And sometimes my intent is to enroll them in doTERRA. So, but I don't see a difference in any of that, because it's always enrolling them. So that is my intent. The second thing is you have to be present, because they're going to tell you things that if you're not present, you will miss. So the second thing is to be present. And I want you guys to practice this with each other, because if you're not present, there's something that happens on the third one, and that is to be authentic. If you're not present, you cannot be authentic. And so what's interesting is, and that's the practice, right? Because when you're done and someone has tried to enroll you, and I don't care if it's doTERRA that you're practicing, I don't care if it's enrolling you in exercising, I don't care if it's enrolling you in getting up early in the morning. And just to let you know, if you want to go back and listen to this, Colleen, I don't know if you paid attention, but I enrolled you in getting up. And I enrolled you by asking questions so that you could see the benefit of getting up. You're on mute, Colleen, sorry.
Oh, I just said right. I'm trying to spare you the screams.
No, it's so cute. Don't even worry about it. It was funny though, because I could see your mouth moving, but I don't know. So what happens is if I was not authentic in hearing what you were saying, I would miss the cue of asking a question. Because what was interesting is you already answered your own question. And let me revise that. You already answered. You had the answer inside of you for the money, because there is money inside of you and you knew it. All I was doing is asking questions so that you could come down to the conclusion of, wait a minute, if I want to have achievement energy from the time I start to the time I end up, I need to be able to get up. And you already said it in your first question. I mean, in your when you said, I need to get up because when I get up, I feel so much better. And then I asked you, what would that look like? Feeling so much better. What would happen? So in that, right? So then at the very end, the fourth thing is you, as the person asking the question, I have to be able to receive what you want me to, what you want to give me. So now I've been a giver because I've been asking questions and helping you be aware. Now it's my turn to receive. And do you notice? So when we asked, I asked you to take action.
Right.
Take action on that. Same thing with Casa. Casa, take action on that. And you both did. So that's what a strategy session, that's can be the easiest strategy session right there and then. And if you notice, every time we'll do this, you'll always see that we're doing this. We are enrolling every single time. So that's a strategy session. Now, if you want to practice enrolling, then I would say, like enrolling in doTERRA, I would say get these down first and then practice on doTERRA. The reason why is if you can practice on enrolling someone on the easy things like yourself first,
right,
you can enroll anyone else. But if you haven't been enrolled yourself, what will happen is you will come to it and at the end it'll be funky. Meaning when you get done, the person will feel like you're selling them. You're trying to sell them something. And I don't know about you, but I don't like to be sold. I don't like that feeling.
right.
And so the way to do it is, one, to have an intent. There's a reason why you're asking them questions. The second is to be present. The third is to be authentic. And then the fourth is to receive in order for them to take action. And so one of the things that people had asked me, they're like, well, how do you start that? And it's easy, right? So you're calling each other up and you're like, hey, Colleen, how are you doing today? Hey, we've been enrolled in our lives this last week. How's that working out for you?
Excellent.
Exactly. But right, you're not going to say excellent, right? Yeah,
No.
You're going to tell me exactly what you just said. Casa, the same with you. That's how you start that whole conversation. That's how you master it. And then you just are present and you look for questions, because the money is in the questions. Any questions or comments on that?
So I have a question as far as the being present, because I have spent a large portion of my life not present.
Haven't we all?
I mean, and I see that, when I look back more and more about how much I have not been present and didn't realize it, totally unaware. And so, I'm trying to practice and think about, am I being present? I don't know. Do you have any tips or anything on I don't know, keeping that mindset or that ability to stay present, besides just continually in my mind saying, where are you? Are you,
Yeah.
Am I here? Am I here?
So I love that you asked that question, Colleen. Yes, I do. So one thing that I've learned is if I have the other person, if in my mind I'm thinking, what do they need? and I am not worried about me, and I'm just worried about them, I am so present. So the whole entire time, it's literally, what do they need?
Right.
So, right, I have a PowerPoint, right?
Uh-huh.
But it doesn't mean we follow the PowerPoint, because it depends on what you guys need.
Mm-hmm.
So when the whole thing is, before I start a PowerPoint, right, I've asked my higher power for me to be present, and then to know what you both need. And so as long as I am consistently, what do you need? What does Casa need? What does Colleen need? And my mind is, what do they need, and what can I give them? Then I'm completely present.
So that's what I need to practice the saying, what do they need?
Yeah.
Because I have always so easily, because I'll think I'm trying to be present, I'm thinking, I start out that way, and then I suddenly come to this realization, oh no, where did I go? Where have I been? Because I was not present.
Yeah.
It's like it happens without my even realizing.
Right. And it's a pattern. So this is just another pattern that you will come with. The other thing is too, I mean, we're doing oils. Do In Tune. That's a great oil. Yeah. So Casa, do you have anything that you would like to add on that? Present.
I love this conversation, and Colleen, I think it's no accident that we're placed together. And I know Stephanie knows that. So one thing that has really helped me is me being the first enrollment, but the second enrollment being my husband. And when he and I are enrolled together, and we're talking about these things and talking about, vision boards. I mean, the man doing, the course with Kirk Duncan's, what does he do? Go Vertical. He's taken off 7 things. He'll have taken off 7 or 8 things by the end of Go Vertical.
Nice.
So that has been the biggest change in our life and in our marriage, that we are enrolled together in our relationship. And that has given me the confidence, because I tell him, just, when we're not good, we're not together, we're not connected, I'm a mess. So we have to be together. And that's helped me. I've had so much more confidence in conversations I've had. It's been miraculous.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing, Casa.
Yeah.
I'll agree. Ditto on that. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I probably wouldn't have a vision board still if it wasn't for Byron.
Wow.
Because one day he said, okay, because he was listening to the Kirk Duncan's thing on vision boards. He said, okay, because we were both kind of doing the put it off thing. And he said, I'm doing it. He went down in my craft room of scariness and pulled out a board and just, said, I'm doing this. Stuck it all together and stuck it up on the wall and said, well, so are you going to do one? Oh, yeah, you just come on, I'll help you. Kind of forced my hand, and it was a good thing.
Yeah.
I love it. That's awesome. Marriages, as you guys know, they're amazing. And when it's like what Casa said, when you're together, there's nothing that stops you.
It makes such a difference.
Yeah, it does. So it's interesting. I'm going to take you guys a different strategy than what I was planning on. So last week I had asked if you guys wanted to show you a vision board that I did, and everybody had said yes. And then when I started doing the video, there's so many things happening. Like I can upload the video, then people can see it, so on and so forth, that I just never got to it. And it was interesting because I knew it was, it was not that I never got to it. I knew there was a sabotaging happening. And so it was interesting. And so today I said, well, if I'm supposed to do vision board, we'll bring it up. So it's interesting because guess what was brought up? So let me just see. Tyler J. Watson, he said, all the answers you're looking for are in a question. The right question can change the game. And it's interesting because the question that I had was basically, if I'm supposed to teach vision board, bring it up. So we only have 13 minutes. Are you guys okay? Well, first of all, are there any questions on accountability calls or strategy sessions?
So are those at the same time, the same daily call?
So great question. It is up to your group. You can if you want. Some people, though, have their call early in the morning and then people go to work. So that doesn't work for them. But others don't. So it just depends on what you guys want to do.
So are strategy calls supposed to just be once a week?
So the strategy calls are up to you. Remember what I said last week? If you want to up level your game, you need lots of experiences with strategy sessions. So if you want to upgrade, and I kid you not when I say this, you want to see your business explode in 6 weeks, you ask your higher self, what's the number? And then you sit with that number. And I would even highly suggest that, because this is one thing that my accountability calls, when we say our strategy session numbers, someone inevitably will say, is that stretching you? Can you do one more? And I've got to tell you, that has made the difference in the world. So again, you can choose if you want to do 1 day a week or once a day, whatever you want. You look for it. Now it can be, let's say the strategy session, someone said, oh, well, let's do once a week, but you want to up level. And so you might ask your callers, I'd really like to up level fast. So I feel like I need to do this. Can you support me on that? Or do I need to look for other strategy sessions? If they say, no, I can't support you on that, not a big deal, right? That's where they're at. Then you go and look for them. It could be that you say, hey, Stephanie, I need, I'm up leveling. I'm going to do once a day. So I need another one. Can I call you up and role play with you? The more role play you get, the more experiences you'll get, and the more people will come into your life and they'll have that same role play. You'll do it again and again and again. It's crazy how it works. So it's up to you. Casa, did I answer your,
Yes.
So
yes.
What did you get out of that answer?
It's up to us. It's up to my group. It's up to how often and what time. And if I need more or someone else needs more, then they need to just check with you and be a part of another group as well.
Perfect.
I recall you saying that these groups change?
Yes.
Or
not your accountability, your strategy. Because what happens when you, and it will not change until next week. What happens is when you're with the same people, you get really comfortable and it's easy, right? So it'll get, like after the third time, you'll know each other really well and it'll be easy.
Yeah.
So no offense, but we want you to stay uncomfortable. So we switch it. So then you get a little nervous having to do a call to someone. Does that
I'm
make
pretty good at being uncomfortable.
Pardon?
I'm getting pretty good at being uncomfortable.
All right. I love it.
All the time.
I love it.
Casa, did you get my email?
I did.
Okay.
I'll reply today.
Okay, thanks.
So just remember, if you want to get your goal 5 times faster, you need more experience. So it depends on what you want and how you want to get there. So really, experience is the gap between you and your goals. And that's really what it is. That's really what it boils down to. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. And just remember, ask, and then you shall receive. And be specific on your questions, ask the right questions, and then enroll them, and then be prepared to receive. And it starts with you, enrolling in you. So just let you know, I'm 100% on my food, just for you. Okay, I'm going to stop this share, and I'm going to come right back to us. Okay, so let's go over vision boards really quickly. So About 4 months ago, 5, I don't know how long ago. Anyway, a while ago, a couple months ago, more than a couple months, but I don't know how long. I was looking at my vision board, and I had been doing a vision board for over a year, and I had taken things down. It was fun, you know, I was doing the whole thing, but there was no passion in it. There was no energy in it. I was just doing it to be obedient, basically, right? And I noticed that this was my pattern. If someone asked me to do something, I was just doing it to be obedient. I was not doing it because there was anything behind it. So one morning I was speaking to my higher power, and I said to him, hey, what is with this vision board? How can I make this work for me? And it was interesting because he said, you have to ask for, well, let me put it this way. So one of my questions that I asked was, how can I receive the greatest gift? And he said, well, you have to ask for it. And I said, well, I'm not ready to ask for it. And he said, well, ask for it. And so we kind of went back and forth. And finally I said, well, I'm afraid to ask for it because what if I don't receive it? And he said, well, you can't receive it unless you ask for it. And so I said, all right, that's interesting. And he said, take everything off your vision board. So I did. I took everything off. And he said, when you have taken everything off of your vision board, you will have become like me. And you will have received the greatest gift, charity. And I said, well, how do I receive that? And he said, by this. So I took everything off my vision board. It's all down. And I said, okay, how do I receive it? And he said, I'm going to ask you to put things up. But when you put them up, it is not that you get to take them down. It is when it's finished that you will take them down. So now I was like, what? So I said, okay, show me how this works. So he said, okay, in your relationships, there's you, put your name on a square. There's your husband, put his name on a square. There's your children, put their names on a square. So I did. And then he said, in order to have charity, you have to have a relationship with them, and you have to be able to receive. And right now, anytime they are supporting you and telling you, hey, mom, you're doing this, you're looking at it as a judgment. And so you react as if they were judging you, because it goes back to my core story of being judged. You react as if they were judging you, and you do not receive it. You actually push it away, and you respond by verbal negativity. And so he said, so what I want you to do is I want you, and I'm just going to share with you this one example. He said, so I want you every morning, I will tell you what you need to do in order to have charity, to become like me. So I look at my vision board in the morning, and he'll say, take down your name, and I'll take down my name. And then he'll say, write these things that you need to do. So like this morning, it was be 100% obedient to me. So I put that on there. And then he said, take down your husband's name. So I took down my husband's name. And then he said, write these words. And when he says write these words, it's on a different piece of paper. It's not on my husband's name. So on another piece of paper, it was to embrace everything that my husband says and to be thankful for it and to receive it 100%, and then to build him up with words, to build whatever I want my husband to be, to build him up and to verbally tell him who he is with those words. And so when I do that in the evening, I ask him, am I done? And sometimes he'll say, no. And then I'll have to ask, what am I lacking? And he will tell me, and then I'll leave that there. And other times I will say, am I done? And he will say, yes, put the name back. And you can take that down and put it in your creation board. And so what has been amazing is it is literally an enrollment process on my vision board. I'm asking him, what do I need to be enrolled to become like you? And he is letting me know through different things. So it's not just relationships. There's other things too that are on there that he's asked, that he's told me, these are the things you need in order to be like me. So my vision board has totally taken on a different paradigm. And it's interesting because people will say, well, you don't have CEOs for your business. You don't have how much money you want to make for this. But what's amazing is when I do those things, guess what follows? The big CEOs and the money. And what's interesting, so what's going to happen is, are you good ladies okay? I'm going to stop the recording right here and I'm going to share something with you. You guys okay? Okay, I'm going to stop the recording.